Have you heard about the chosen ones? Who are they? What is so special about them? And most importantly, how does it feel being a chosen one? Many desire to be a chosen one because they want to join the League of Souls who seemingly have it easier than everybody else. Yet to assert that the chosen ones have it easier than the rest would be a total misrepresentation of the truth. In reality, their path is fraught with its own unique struggles and tests. What others may see as privilege often comes with heavy burdens, challenges, and sacrifices that are hidden beneath the surface. To dive deeper into the mysterious phenomenon of the chosen ones, let's go over a story. Not so long ago there lived a prince, born into a life most would envy, a life of privilege, wealth, and security. His father was the king of the clan, so the prince was destined for a life of luxury and ease. The king was incredibly protective about his little one, so he raised him in a bubble of comfort. Far away from the harshness of the world, the prince had every pleasure and material joy at his fingertips. The prince got married at a young age and had a family too. So one could say he really had everything a human could desire to have for a fulfilling life. But then there came a time when all this joy, ease, and pleasure couldn't satisfy the young prince anymore. His dissatisfaction and curiosity led him to ask questions like, what lies beyond the palace walls? What does life mean beyond wealth and status? His father tried his best to shield the prince from suffering. No fear, no anxiety or sadness was allowed into his carefully constructed reality. Yet, the prince could feel the pull of something greater, something deeper. Then finally, the privileged prince came face to face with the reality of the world, and it wasn't easy to digest. On a rare outing from his protected world, the prince saw the suffering of the real world, the sick, the old, the dying, the hungry. The illusion of a perfect world shattered for him at that very moment. Outside the walls of his luxurious palace, he witnessed the impermanence of life, the certainty of death, and the suffering that everyone endured, no matter their wealth or status. His father had tried to blind him to this reality, but now it was undeniable. He could see it, he could feel it. Having witnessed the depth of the suffering firsthand, he could no longer remain passive. The weight of what he had seen stirred a deep sense of responsibility within him, and he knew he couldn't find the answers while staying in his bubble of comfort. Therefore, the young prince left it all behind: the palace, the wealth, his family, the life that had been set out for him. In the quiet of the night, he left his home and ventured into the wilderness, embracing uncertainty and suffering to find truth. The young prince searched for years and years, mediated for days and nights, and only then was he able to awaken to the reality of his being. He finally became enlightened. The name of this prince was Siddhartha Gautama, and today we know him as Buddha, the awakened one. Buddha's life journey serves as an excellent example of how a chosen one is molded into its essence through struggle and suffering. Just like pressure is needed to transform coal into a diamond, some tests are an essential part of shaping the chosen one. It is only by enduring and overcoming these trials that an ordinary human being can emerge, like a diamond from the rough, fully realizing their strength, wisdom, and unique destiny. So let's explore 10 of hardest spiritual tests only the chosen ones endure. These tests might be common, but they are not easy by any means, yet the chosen ones willingly go through them, only to emerge far better, wiser, and stronger than ever before. The very first test that a chosen one goes through is the feeling of being dissatisfied with the material realm. It's a strange feeling of emptiness that makes them question everything they have known and forces them to confront the limitations of worldly success and possessions. Just like when Siddhartha Gautama was a prince, he had every comfort and material possession he could have asked for, but deep down in his soul, He longed for something more. A chosen one may not even know what they yearn for, yet this deep, nagging feeling of dissatisfaction with the material world keeps on consuming the soul. Passively and silently, while every individual may experience this feeling of discontentment at least once in their lifetime, only the chosen ones dig deeper. They are willing to go the extra mile to uncover the mysteries of life and the universe. To go the extra mile and tread the path less traveled, the chosen one must directly confront this sense of unease, to realize that fulfillment can't come solely from possessions, status, relationships, or achievements. This goes without saying that material possessions do bring relief to the body and mind, but that comfort is temporary. A nice house, a stable income, and a loving family are the goals we all seek, because they bring some level of order to our life. Therefore, a chosen one would initially spend a lot of time trying to acquire material goals in hopes of attaining peace like everyone else. But then something awakens within that exceptional being, and they start to sense that no matter what they obtain, something essential is still missing. This feeling of dissatisfaction eventually forces the chosen one to step back from the distractions of the material world and begin asking the bigger questions. Who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Lately, if you have been feeling dissatisfied and there is an undeniable desire to seek the spiritual truths within you, then you are the chosen one. And don't worry. The test of dissatisfaction is never about rejecting the material world entirely, but about finding a gentle balance between the seen and the invisible. Being a chosen one, you must take this first test as a signal that you are nearing your spiritual awakening, and only if you follow your intuitive nudges will you be led towards self-discovery, inner peace, and purpose-driven living. As the chosen ones begin to question the reality of life and existence, they often find themselves alone on this spiritual path. This isolation is not merely physical, it's rather a deep internal understanding that no one truly understands their journey or the questions they are beginning to ask. The majority of the population is so deeply trapped in the matrix that they do not think beyond their immediate needs. Mentally wrapped up in familiar routines, responsibilities, and survival, they rarely consider the possibility that there's more to life than what's in front of them. Look around you, and you will find that the majority is only worried about the food they consume, the place they live in, or their next paycheck. Or think about the conversations you hear at work, at the store, or even at family gatherings. How often are they centered around what's for dinner, what bills are coming up, or the latest sale at a local store? When was the last time you saw people in a social gathering talking about something more profound than mundane, everyday activities? Most people simply do not have the realization that there could be more to life than the ordinary and the mundane. But the chosen ones are built differently. They are not satisfied with the projection of reality they are made to believe in, so they initiate a journey of exploration. All the spiritual leaders and ascended masters had to endure periods of isolation to receive their connection with the divine. Take Jesus Christ as an example. For 40 days and nights, Jesus wandered alone in the wilderness, fasting and facing profound challenges that went far beyond physical hunger. This time of solitude wasn't just a test of endurance, it was a deep, inward journey where he wrestled with his sense of purpose, his identity, and his relationship with God. Usually, when a person goes through such an intense period and is stripped of all the distractions and comfort, then there is no choice but to confront the most fundamental questions about one's existence. The same happened with Jesus. He pondered over, who was he really? What was his true mission and how would he fulfill it? He had to confront the weight of his divine calling and what it would mean for the world and himself. If you are a chosen one, then you too will go through periods of physical and psychological isolation throughout your life. There will be times when even your closest people will abandon you, or they simply will not be able to understand your point of view. When that happens, take a deep breath and know it's a perfectly normal part of your enchanting journey. This loneliness is the price you pay for greatness. And if you are a true seeker at heart, you will not only survive through these periods, but will use them as an opportunity for spiritual growth. Solitude will feel intimidating at first, but the more time you will spend with yourself, the easier the path will become. A chosen one is the reflection of all-encompassing divine energy, and one of the most powerful attributes of Christ consciousness is granting forgiveness to others and oneself if needed. Christ consciousness refers to the embodiment of divine qualities, such as unconditional love, humility, and empathy, while also recognizing and living from the awareness that we are all interconnected and part of a larger divine whole. And since we are all connected on a deep spiritual level, whatever we do to others, we essentially do to ourselves. Conversely, when we act with love and compassion, we elevate not only the person we are helping, but ourselves as well. Ephesians 4:32 says, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." Forgiving those who have wronged you is indeed a hard test, and not many are capable of coming out of it successfully. This test pushes you into the very depths of your pain, memories and emotions, asking you to release anger, resentment, and the desire for revenge. When someone has wronged you, betrayed your trust, broken your heart, or caused you pain, it can feel unbearable to let go of that hurt. In such cases, our natural instinct is to hold on to anger as a shield and to ensure the person who hurt you doesn't get away with their actions. But it is important to remember that the longer we hold on to those negative emotions, the more deeply they will damage our psychological and physical well-being. Negative energy is dense, so these emotions become stuck in the first three chakras of your body, the root, sacral, and solar plexus chakras. As a result of these blocked energy centers, you may find yourself stuck in patterns of self-sabotage, struggling to move past personal or professional challenges, or unable to maintain healthy relationships. On a strictly physical level, these blockages can also manifest as chronic pain, fatigue, or illness. So in essence, when you are not forgiving someone, you are choosing a life of mental, emotional, and physical turmoil for yourself. Your negative energy will come to haunt you in all aspects of your life. Therefore, it is plain foolish to harbor ill will towards any other person. They might have hurt you, but it was because they were hurting deep inside themselves. You can break the cycle. Forgive those who hurt you, and don't project the hurt you received on somebody else because you are a chosen one. On the other hand, every act of kindness, empathy, or compassion by you reverberates through the world, impacting the energy we all share. So honoring the interconnectedness of all beings will not only bring peace and healing to others, but will also build a sense of fulfillment, wholeness, and divine harmony within your body, mind, and energy field. One of the hardest tests a chosen one has to go through is being persistent in the face of the unknown. It's easy to move forward when you can see where you're headed and when you have a sense of direction and some level of certainty. But when the future is shrouded in mystery, when you're standing on the edge of the unknown, that's when persistence truly becomes a test of strength. We have to understand that life is unpredictable and uncertain. There are no guarantees for anything in life. We cannot tell what is going to happen the very next moment, yet our mind likes the idea of certainty. It's a survival-focused brain. It is hardwired for safety and self-preservation. Back in time when our ancestors lived in the wilderness, it was this primitive mind that kept us safe and alive. In those times, fearing the unknown and unseen was a matter of life or death. If you didn't pay attention to the warning signs or take swift action, you didn't survive. Times have changed, but our brain is still primitive in its functioning. So even today, whenever we face a situation of uncertainty, the mind goes off with its reactions of fight or flight or anxiety. It just doesn't like being in the unknown. It would choose the known over the unknown any day, even if walking into the unknown is essential for our success and fulfillment. But as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, the unknown is where the magic happens. The unknown is the place of infinite possibilities. Think about all the breakthroughs, whether in science, art, or personal development, that happened because someone dared to venture into the unknown. Your body and mind would do everything to keep you tied to familiarity, but you need to go into the unknown to discover your true potential. Luckily, the chosen ones know this better than anyone else, and hence, they face the unknown head-on. Through patience and practice, they prepare their mind and body to not only go into the unknown, but embrace the inherent uncertainties of life. This is what makes a soul resilient and highly adaptable. Our life situations and circumstances are nothing but a carefully constructed prism of reality. In essence, we live in a bubble of delusion, and then something happens and the entire structure collapses. This can be the loss of a loved one, a soul-crushing heartbreak, a life-altering accident or event. This incident triggers the infamous dark night of the soul. When a person is in the dark night of the soul, life and everything within it loses its meaning. Suddenly, the old paradigm of reality to which they had subscribed for so long doesn't make sense anymore. Whether it's a personal crisis, a loss, or just a growing sense of emptiness, they begin to question everything they once thought was important. They may look at their high-paying job or their possessions and feel a deep sense of disconnect, as if none of it truly matters anymore. This disconnect is intimidating but absolutely necessary. It's only when you have touched rock bottom can you rise up to a new level. It's only when you question your old life can you start manifesting a new reality for yourself. So if you're going through the dark night of the soul, just keep going. The only way out is through. In this darkness, you are being reshaped, realigned, and prepared for a new chapter in your life. As soon as a chosen one sets forth on a new path, the shadows of fear and doubt creep into their psychology. The doubt makes you question so many things about your life. Whether you're on the right path, whether you're enough, or whether this journey was meant for you at all. So here's the truth. While some quantity of doubt is natural, it is not the companion you would want when navigating a complex journey of inner exploration and spiritual expansion. The best antidote to these moments of doubt is faith. Faith in yourself, your journey, and the divine intelligence that is with you in every moment of your life. Also, it's not about having all the answers from the very start, but trusting that the right path will unfold even when it's unclear. People who choose faith over doubt become the chosen ones because they master the art of turning adversity into life-changing opportunities. A great example of this is how when people get diagnosed with a terminal illness, they give all their power away to doubt and fear. When you become a victim of doubt, you strip yourself of the emotional strength your body desperately needs to heal and endure. Surrendering to fear only deepens the struggle, while faith and strength can fuel resilience, even in the toughest battles. Therefore, when a handful of people choose faith over fear, they come out just fine out of the clutches of that terminal disease. Spontaneous remissions have been observed in various conditions, like cancer, autoimmune diseases, and mental health struggles. Though the exact mechanism of spontaneous healing remains unclear, research suggests that faith and spirituality often play a significant role in facilitating these recoveries. Faith provides hope, purpose, and coping mechanisms, which can lower stress and strengthen resilience. The placebo effect is another great example of the power of faith. Just because you put your faith in something, it starts working out for you. It can be a pill, a meditation, your journey, or your destiny. So, while keeping faith is indeed a test for a chosen one, it is also the only vehicle with which they can get to their ultimate destination. Faith is both a test as well as the biggest help on a journey of spiritual ascension. Alan Watts says, "Faith is a state of openness or trust. To have faith is like when you trust yourself to the water. You don't grab hold of the water when you swim, because if you do, you will become stiff and tight in the water and sink." We live in a world of duality, night and day, water and fire, light and darkness. They all exist as polar opposites, yet they also lend meaning and significance to each other. While the idea of a chosen one is all about being the one with a Christ consciousness, even the chosen ones have their shadow self, a dark side that they have to confront often to stay in balance. This shadow self isn't necessarily evil or wrong. It's the part of themselves they might try to ignore, deny, or suppress because it represents their weaknesses or fears. In fact, it is confronting the shadow self and subsequent course correction that makes the journey of a chosen one feel so divine and magical. The fascinating concept of the shadow self originates from the works of Carl Jung. According to Carl, the shadow self represents the unconscious parts of ourselves that we reject or hide, our fears, doubts, anger, or traits we deem socially unacceptable. Every shadow you carry within your dualistic existence holds lessons about personal limits, fears, desires, and suppressed memories. So recognizing and integrating these parts allows chosen ones to step into their purpose and initiates the process of continuous improvement. It is our attachment to people, outcomes, identities, and material possessions that often binds us to suffering. For the chosen ones, those who are called to a higher purpose, this lesson becomes especially crucial. Attachment creates a false sense of security as it ties us to the impermanent, things, relationships, and even ideas that are subject to change. When we cling too tightly to these things, we set ourselves up for pain because nothing in life is truly permanent. If you do not let go of things willingly, life will take them away from you slowly, and it will be a much more painful process than the first choice. The universe has a way of showing us that attachment to anything temporary or external will eventually lead to disappointment or loss. So, the sooner we learn this lesson, the better it is for our psychological well-being. Buddha's own journey from the luxury of his palace to wilderness and solitude is a powerful example of how letting go adds to one's spiritual wisdom. Similarly, a chosen one would have to let go of the attachments, the familiar life and ease, to become one with their higher self. No doubt it is a hard test, but its reward is the freedom one experiences beyond attachment. That freedom is worth the temporary unease. How many times in life have you set out a perfectly achievable goal for yourself, yet somehow the distractions get the best of you? You start out with clarity, enthusiasm, and focus, ready to take on the world. But before you know it, days turn into weeks, and that goal you once felt certain about starts to feel distant and unattainable. The chosen ones are no alien to these temptations. Their focus and tenacity come as a result of successfully coming out of the test of distractions and temptations. They have to go through rigorous mental training and overcome countless distractions, learning to prioritize their paths even when temptation looms heavy. A monk meditating in the hills of Tibet did not get his calm by chance or as a stroke of luck. Just like an ordinary man, that monk had to go through the test of resisting temptation and distraction. These temptations could have led him astray, much like they do for most people. However, it was the monk's choice to commit himself to the path of self-discovery and simplicity that led him through. So if you are being consumed by the distractions around you, then you must make a decision. Ask any successful individual, and they will tell you how one has to pay the price of success. As Jim Rohn said, we must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. Just as athletes train their bodies to respond under pressure, the chosen ones train their minds to resist diversions by setting boundaries, eliminating unnecessary noise, and visualizing their end goals. Every day they get up with a new vigor and insatiable desire for creativity. This is the hallmark of these extraordinary souls. Finally, we come to the last and most important test, the test of surrender. When all is done, when you have given your best, when there is nothing more you can do, then it's time to take a step back and let God take care of things. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, these two qualities are called abhyasa and vairagya. They can be translated as a willful determination and a non-concern for results. Together, the two spiritual qualities called abhyasa and vairagya represent the union of effort and surrender, striving without clinging, working without desperation, and acting with intention but no attachment to the outcome. This is the highest form of surrender. A chosen one always acts with discipline and resolve while accepting life's unpredictable nature with equanimity. A chosen one is deeply rooted in their values and their vision, knowing that their journey is about more than momentary triumphs or obstacles. To some, this beautiful surrender might feel like a test, but to a chosen one, it's liberation from the urge to control everything. The reason why many are still troubled, still seeking, still making little forward progress is because they haven't yet come to the end of themselves. We're still trying to give orders and interfering with God's work within us. A.W. Tozer.